Hi, hello. Welcome back to my Christmasified apartment. Get used to it. As I said, I'm planning on keeping these decorations up until the last day of January or first day of February. I was thinking about that yesterday about like literally what day. Like, do I want to wait till February 1st to tear down or make sure it's torn down before February 1st? Just mentally there's a difference there with how I conceptualize of the schedule of the holiday spirit. But I am as of yet undecided on the exact day of teardown, but around those 2 days. And I'm loving having my Christmas apartment. Thanks, Jessie May, for bullying me into having Christmas. But I know by the time we get to tear down, first of all, I'm not really gonna want to tear down, and I'll probably try to get Jesse and or Park to help me tear down. But it's gonna feel good to get rid of these decorations and put them away at that point, I'm sure. It'll make the room feel bigger and stuff like that. I I have a wall here that you haven't really seen. I've never really filmed from that angle. But there's just these Dollar Tree decorations on the wall that are so cute. So maybe I do a little filming there. But I just always want to have the Christmas tree visible. So I end up here. Um, yeah. Um, I mostly have Dollar Tree ornaments, which was a great way as a first time Christmas tree owner to fill up my tree for really cheap. But I did get one pack of like these larger, more ornate red ornaments in different styles from Home Goods. Um, and then I texted my mom after getting my tree set up, and I told her that if she did not send me I asked for at least 6 ornaments, and I said if she didn't send me 6 ornaments, then she doesn't support Christmas. And I knew she was gonna send me the ornaments. So I asked her for a mix of her handmade ornaments and commercially available and purchased ornaments, and that is what she gave me. Let me just show you my two favorites. Um, I talked a little bit about this on the last video, but I do not want to break this frog or anything. She has been doing handmade felt, embroidered and applique beaded ornaments like this for a few years. She makes some every season, and I love them. I've made them with her before. Maybe when I go home, I'll make myself one for fun. I never do any like hand stitching like this. I'm not particularly good at it, but I have enough skill when she's helping me to make something like this. And then I gasped when I saw this little frog ornament, frog prints. It's really, really cute. And then there's a few other, let me make sure, I'm sorry, but the new theme of my recording is that I'm always checking to make sure my phone is still going. I'm high on battery. I think my mics are also good on battery. And then, where was this? This is fine, I guess, or maybe it was, I think this is good. I think my mics are good, but I am always worried about my storage capacity. I did double check to make sure I had already deleted my previous long video, and I did. And sorry for you having to witness my anxiety, but I've been burnt before, okay? Now, a few times I've been recording these videos only to get up and realize that I've been talking to a phone that's not recording for sometimes like half an hour. Um, I just can't help myself with like sitting. It's like a joke on the internet for years now that like gay people, LGBTQ people don't know how to sit. And I have to agree. always want to have my legs crossed or be crisscross, and I'm on my stool that is actually for my jewelry bench, and probably this is not the nicest way to sit on it for the health of this product, but and it's also a little bit precarious. So I really hope I don't topple off and take down my tree, but I think I would post it if I did. I'd probably clip it and turn it into a reel to advertise this podcast if I did, no matter how embarrassing, just for the views and for the clout. We had our first snow here the other day, and um, that was really sweet and cute. It was very pretty snow. It did not stick. It pretty much melted by the end of that day, which honestly I'm kind of glad about. Like the snow is really pretty and it's romantic, but I'm from Texas. I'm not actually acclimated to going around in snow and ice. I don't like driving in that. I don't like walking in that. So I was glad. And I know we're gonna have a long season of snow and ice being nasty on the ground. So I was glad for this first snow. It was snowy all day, and then by night, kind of back to normal. Um, I did not yet have an ice scraper for my car, and I needed to go to the gym, which is not far away, but I still drive. Um, I guess it's possible to take transit there, but it would take much longer than it takes to drive. But I was thinking before I left the house, like, how am I going to get the snow off my car? And then I decided to take down with me a metal sheet tray, like a cookie sheet for baking. And I think it might still be in my car. I don't know if I brought that back in, but that did the trick. That worked just fine. And the very next day, I had ordered online a proper ice scraper, which is now in my car, I think. I already took it down. And next time I'll have the proper tool and I'll get to learn how to use that. But I think it's pretty simple. Oof, I'm feeling so chatty, like already. I'm not even like looking at my notes that much just because there's already a lot of chatter in my brain. So this could turn into a 3 hour video, but I'm gonna shut up. I am going to try to stay somewhat focused as much as I love yapping and as much as you love listening to me yap. Just because I have things to do today, okay? And by things to do today, I mean I want to go to the gym. I mean, so this month will mark 2 years of me going to the gym. That's like when I started. And I guess I've had shorter stints in life of doing exercise of different types, sometimes going to the gym. I had probably a couple of years where I was really consistently into hot yoga. Um, I've always like been attracted to exercise, honestly. Um, I did not ever think I would be like into lifting and the gym in the way that I am now, but I am, and I'm really happy with that. But yeah, 2 years, and I don't see myself stopping. It's like just so a part of my routine. But these past few days, I've been hitting it every day, which I've had long periods. Like the whole first year I was going to the gym, I was working out like a madman, like 5, 6 times a week and whatever. Like some people, I'm not gonna tell you, oh, like that was way too much and I shouldn't have done that or whatever. Like so many people have opinions on that, but like whatever, do what you want. Listen to your body. If you want to work out 2 times a day every day and you feel fine, go for it. And if you want to never work out ever, go for that too. I really don't care. Um, but in recent months, I've been more into, I've been swimming a lot. And I do like to get some form of exercise and movement every day. And that's one of the reasons I like going to the gym every day because other than that, I work from home and I have a sedentary lifestyle. So if I don't make a point of going to do exercise, then I'm just not going to get any steps in. I also love to go for a walk, but I have not had the habit of going for a casual walk in a long time now. So it's usually more acutely pinpointed and planned exercise for a portion of each day. But since I've moved here and I'm so close to Lake Michigan, only like 1 mile away from me, I have been swimming as much as I can. So I've been swimming 2 to 3 times a week and then going to the gym 2 to 3 times a week. And I didn't necessarily think I was going to make it this long with swimming into November, but I have. I went swimming about 2 weeks ago and it felt totally fine. I mean, it's been chilly for the past 5, 6 weeks. It's really felt cold, but it hasn't felt like it's getting so much colder during that time. And so 2 weeks ago kind of felt like more or less what I'm used to. And then I went maybe 5 or 6 days ago and it really felt like it turned again a little bit noticeably colder. Like it really felt intolerable. Um, it's always shocking, but it felt extra shocking. It was cold enough to where when I dipped my head under, and I love to swim underwater, it like instantly gives you a headache. If you've ever swam in really, really cold water, you might know that feeling. It's not a nice feeling. Like until that swim, I've been swimming even in the cold for like 30 minutes of like continuous breaststroke, like really getting my exercise in and enjoying the cold water and it makes me feel good. Like it feels good for my joints and stuff. And then to go have a warm bath or shower after feels great. But no, this past time I kind of wanted to get out the whole time. So I only swam for maybe 15 minutes and then I got out and also, once it starts to, I don't know what the temperature was. I would assume it was getting around 55 degrees or lower at this point. Um, and in my experience, that is about the point where water really starts to feel intolerable for me. Like 60 degrees is really freaking cold, but I can stay in it for a long time and I feel fine. But 55 and below starts to really like give me a headache, makes my extremities hurt. So my fingers and my toes were aching. And yeah, now that we've had snow, I'm like, ugh, I might be done. But I know I'm like, it's not that much colder, if really at all noticeably colder than it was the last time I went. So I could do that again. Obviously, my swims are having to get shorter, but like, I'm kind of a freak in that way. I think it's some kind of mental illness that I have, really, of like um, wanting to push myself to extremes and like seeing what I'm capable of for no real reason other than like I want to. Um, so there definitely is a demon in my head that's like, keep swimming. But yeah, it's also reaching the time of year where apparently Chicago kind of can get overcast to the point where you don't really see the sun um, for like sometimes more than a solid month of like no sunshine. And we're starting to get like that. Like most days are overcast all day the past 2 weeks. And today the sun's out, and I immediately was like, "Ooh, maybe I should swim." But I was already planning on going to the gym, and I had this nice natural light coming in, so I thought, I'm just gonna record my podcast, which I actually wasn't necessarily like. Usually these are about one a month for me or less. But I've had a lot going on. I have a lot I want to talk about and show. I want to make videos while I have all the cheerful decor out. So I was like, why not do a video today? So no swim today, but I can't promise that I'm done. Um, Probably some people get worried when I talk about my cold swimming. I know some of my friends and family get nervous that uh, I go and swim in the cold by myself, but whatever happens, happens. I'm a really strong swimmer, okay? And I'm quite cold tolerant, okay? So don't worry. Yeah, probably at least one more swim in me, especially the next time we have a sunny day. It's like, it's not even so bad. Like the water temperature, yes, it sucks, but it's really bad to get out of the water and for it to be cold or even worse, windy. Ugh, then you like instantly start shivering. Um, let's talk about what I'm wearing. If you have been on Instagram at all, I hope that you've already seen my Polar Star hat. It probably looks funky right now because I just pulled it up above my ears, but they're starting to get warm. Also, these glasses need to be adjusted. They're a little bit tight on my head, and then having the eye cord go over them, I can just feel like it's another layer of something pressing on me. So that was also annoying me. But like the eye cord is plenty stretchy. I could fit my whole hand in. Like honestly, this is one of the most perfect eye cords I've ever knit. It feels so stretchy and yet it's at the perfect point to where it keeps the hat on my head still. Um, a little bit about this hat. I think I had maybe, did I talk about this on the last video? Like, did I have the concept for this? I think it had already been on my mind at that point. But it was a pretty quick, like, I got the idea, I got the yarn, I knit it, and I wrote the pattern all in like 2 or 3 weeks. Like, it came together really quickly just because I felt really inspired by the idea and like actually enjoyed the knitting. Didn't hate writing it either. It was a pretty simple pattern to write. Normally I like test all my patterns, but I've I'm I've been doing this long enough to where I feel pretty confident in like my ability to write a pattern that should not have any gigantic mistakes in it. Um, Especially an accessory like this. So I just really wanted this to come out in time for people if they want to knit this for December that they could have access to it. So no test, straight out to Ravelry. And people have been really nice about it. It's like the most excitement I felt about one of my new patterns in a while. And I see why. It's really like poppy and eye-catching and fun. Um, I've also been enjoying like making content of me wearing it, but it's not even just like marketing. I actually have been obsessed with this hat and it's cold enough. Like once we're in the 40s and below, that is starting to get to hat weather. And so I've been grabbing this almost every time I leave the house and I've gotten one compliment on it from a stranger already. And I bet I'm gonna get more. Um, but mostly I'm just wearing it to the gym, it feels so funny to wear something so silly and cute to the gym where all the gym bros are working out and taking themselves seriously. But I knit it in Noro Kurion, which Kurion is one of the like mainstay bases of Noro. It's like one of their oldest bases. It's one that has never gone away and hopefully never will go away. They do retire and retire colors and introduce new colors every year, I think. But the base is here to stay and it's 100% wool. It is like a worsted Aran weight and I don't know why I've never used it. I guess one reason I haven't like it's kind of a silly reason, but it comes in 50 gram skeins, and I'm usually just my default is that I'm more likely to reach for something that comes in a larger skein. But no, now that I've worked with it, I really would like to use Kurion more. I know I would love some sweaters or cardigans in this, or really anything, other accessories as well. Um, I love that it's 100% wool. You can spit splice it, which it's so nice when you can spit splice a yarn. It's so easy. I think there were really minimal knots in this base. Some Noro bases are notorious for having knots in the skein, and that's something I'm at peace with. I don't care. Obviously, I would prefer there not be knots, but it doesn't really bother me. But I think I either had one knot in 3 skeins or zero. I don't remember, but it definitely wasn't more than one. Um, I think there was one knot because I remember getting to it and being surprised because it was probably on my second skein and other neuro bases that have knots, it's like a guarantee. It's like you're gonna have one knot in every single skein. Um, but this one, there were like no knots in the first one or two skeins, and then on the second or third, I found one, and I was kind of surprised. And sometimes if I'm really truly lazy, I'll knit it in, and I'm like, I really don't give a f. But no, I ripped it out, and especially because I knew I could spit splice so quickly, I was like, oh, I'm just gonna rip out this knot and spit splice the ends together, and that's what I did. Um, it is knit and garter stitch flat, and it's knit side to side, which maybe um, that might be a confusing distinction for a hat, but it really looks huge when I'm not wearing it. I mean, it is. It's like over 25 inches from base to the tip of the hat, and then like another 4.5 inches to the tip of the star. But you cast on your full finished length of the hat, and then you do short rows like up to here, back down, 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 up to here, 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 until you just have a tiny baby short row at the very bottom. It's simple, it's addictive, it is something that you just need to read the pattern once or twice for a couple of minutes, and then you won't need to look for like the body of the hat. Like once you get started, you won't need to look at it again. I would say for most people, just because it is simple and formulaic, and you like have markers placed for all your short row turns, and you're just going down the line, doing the short row to this marker, then to this one, then to this one, then to this one. Love a simple pattern. And then you seam the hat. Honestly, I did kind of a shitty job on my seam, which is not like me because I'm a mattress seam lover, mattress stitch lover, and I'm good at it. But I was like intentionally like playing around with where I was entering the needle to see what was giving me the result I liked the most, and then um, the final written pattern reflects my findings. um, I don't give I don't give like extremely explicit, like the most explicit way to show people how to do a mattress stitch would be to make a tutorial video doing it, and I sometimes get asked on my patterns that have mattress stitch like, why don't you record a tutorial video? And sometimes I'm really generous about recording. Hold on. Just realized I have a beverage. This is a Squirt Zero Sugar, which I don't know if I really had Squirt before I bought this case, but it sounded good because it's grapefruit soda, and it is good, but I probably wouldn't buy it again, or at least not for a while, just because it's like not that special. It could be grapefruitier, but I like it. Have y'all also been seeing that soda starry? It came out of nowhere, and now I see it everywhere. And I was talking to one of my friends about it on the phone, and he was saying he also has noticed it everywhere, and we both were like, what the hell is starry? But I'm pretty sure it is a rebrand of Sierra Mist. And I had a Starry Zero from the gas station on a long drive the other day, and I liked it. So I might buy Starry. I also like was doing a really good job of not buying any soda for my apartment just because it's a waste of money, and like I easily kind of get addicted to like diet sodas and like don't drink enough water. But a little bit I broke the seal on that, and I'm not paying full freaking price for sodas. They've gotten so expensive. Like name brand like Coca-Cola and Pepsi products are like $10 for a 12 pack. I'm not spending that much. So I wait for them to go on sale at Mariano's or at Walmart. There was also like that squirt was $5 for a 12 pack on sale on rollback at Walmart. So I got it. But yeah, I really love a soda. And honestly, I do have to be careful and I should save money where I can. But due to my diabetes and like my fitness lifestyle, I eat such a like kind of I like what I eat from day to day, honestly. I really do, but it is plain and like restrictive. Like it's not my first choice of things that I would really love to eat day to day because the things that I love to eat would give me like a fast track to bad diabetes. Like I could just eat noodles and like dumplings and rice all day long, and that's what I like. And sugary, like I love desserts, I love cakes, I love cookies, and I like hardly eat any of that. So it does sometimes feel like I need a vice, okay? And if my vice is diet soda, so be it. Ugh. I have had many strangers over the years tell me like some of them seem genuinely concerned, but like telling me that drinking diet soda is giving me cancer. And I'm like, I don't want to hear it. I literally don't care. Like, I don't want cancer, but we don't know if it's actually like toxic like that or not. We haven't been ingesting aspartame for long enough to know. And what the actual studies show is that it's probably fine unless you're drinking like 100 gallons of aspartame a day. Like it's like with anything, it's gonna mess you up and make you sick if you ingest toxic quantities of it. Okay, and my 1 or 2 cans of diet soda a day are not doing anything. I've had people who like are hardcore addicted to cigarette smoking, which I have. I'm not a cigarette smoker, but I have no problem with that. It doesn't bother me. Actually, I love to hang out with a little cigarette smoker. I like a little secondhand smoke, and I like the smell of cigarettes, honestly. So no judgment for their vice, but I've had people who are heavy smokers telling me, "Oh, you really shouldn't drink Diet Coke," and I'm like, "Really? You shouldn't be chain smoking," and yet here we are. But anyway, I'm being a little bit extra candid with my rants today. So, as usual, if you are listening to me and you thought, I thought I really liked James, but he's actually an annoying um, bastard, then feel free to turn off this video and never watch another one again. I don't care. Let me drink my Diet Coke. But that's the thing also, I'm not even really drinking that much Diet Coke because yet another way that I have become like tracking and restrictive of what I eat and drink is that I'm being careful about caffeine. I've been talking about it on every video because it's something I think about. But yeah, I'm choosing if I do buy like a Dr. Pepper or a Coke kind of soda, I try to have it with lunch, not with dinner, because I don't want it right before bed, and only one a day. Um, but other than that, I'm trying really, if I am buying soda, which I'm not even buying soda all the time, I'm picking things like Diet Sprite or Starry or like a fruit soda. So, yeah. Uh-oh, uh-oh. As I said, this video is turning into a 3 hour long video, but I just have a lot of thoughts on my heart, okay? Did I have anything else to say about this? Um, the star came out so cute. It's like slightly curled. It's like slightly biased on the tips, and I don't know if that's the yarn. Like sometimes the single ply construction of Nora or any single ply yarn can give your fabric a bias because single ply tends to be a little bit unbalanced. So I don't know if it's that or if it's just the way I did it, but it's so subtle and it's actually really cute. So I don't mind that. Um, but the star is really simple. Um, oh, what was I saying about recording tutorials? Just that, like, I am most inclined to record a tutorial if I feel like I'm using a technique that is like unique to me and my patterns. Like I did a tutorial for the squiggly I chord border because I don't know any other pattern that's done that. And it might be, I think I'm actually, when I have something that's like different or complicated, I think I am good at writing just in text, like really detailed and explicit instructions that give you a lot of like visual indicators of like you are looking at your sweater with the right side facing you and like the hem of the sweater towards you and the shoulders of the sweater away from you, like whatever. I give a bunch of like visual indicators like that before I then start going into like what you're going to see next or what the next step of the instructions are going to be. But I still know that some people are going to do much better with a video on something like that. So I'll make one. But yeah, I understand why a video tutorial for mattress stitch on my individual patterns could be useful because I'm working in different stitch textures and styles, and sometimes I'm seaming rows to rows or stitches to stitches or stitches to rows. And it's all just slightly different, but it's also all the same, and it's all something. There are probably 30 really good tutorials on mattress stitch or more. There might be 100, but there's at least a handful of really good tutorials that are probably made with cameras that are much higher quality than what I have access to. So I just don't feel the need to make tutorials for standard techniques, even though I also understand like it would be helpful to see it done on the pattern that you are actually working on. And if I had all the time and willpower and energy in the day, then sure, I would make tutorials for all of my patterns. But at the end of the day, sometimes I put out a pattern and it sells, you know, 10 copies or something, literally. And it's like I already put in so many hours into the knitting, the designing, and the writing of something that is not necessarily going to pay off immediately. Um, so there's also not a huge incentive for me to go to the massive amount of effort of like constantly recording video tutorials. So the other thing I was going to say is I also feel like it's the kind of thing where you watch one or two tutorials to get the basics of the technique, and then you refine it through your experience as a knitter of using it in different applications and on different patterns, you know. I didn't get good at mattress stitch from going to mattress stitch university. I got good at mattress stitch from doing it a bunch. And also, sometimes I do a shitty mattress stitch like I did in this hat. And by shitty, I mean it doesn't look absolutely perfect and clean. Like, it looks totally fine. Do you know what I mean? This is quite a rant, and I might be sounding like bitchy, but whatever. I do have a lot of tutorials on a lot of my patterns, okay? I do the video tutorials, just not on everything and not for everything. I was tempted to record one not for the mattress stitch on this, but for the centered double increase. So this star, you start by casting on 5 stitches in the round, and then you do centered double increases every round at these 5 points to create the points of the star. And then you get to the halfway point where you reach your maximum stitch count and you switch to doing centered double decreases, or I think that's the same thing as an SK2P. Center double decrease is a much more common stitch than a center double increase in my experience. And yet I still look up how to do a CDD, a double decrease, every time I have to do one, whether it's for my design or if I'm knitting someone else's pattern. Same with Kitchener stitch. Like I always just need a quick refresher, and then in 2 seconds, I'm like, oh yeah, I got this. But I don't know if I've done CDIs, the center double increase. I don't know if I've used that in a design before, and I don't know if I've knit it in someone else's design before. It definitely felt newer to me. But just like with anything, I looked it up on YouTube, I found a tutorial, and I followed it, and it came out fine. And I was thinking maybe I should record a tutorial for this because this is a little bit of a less common stitch. Um, but then I was like, why? Like, I learned it from someone else's YouTube tutorial in 3 seconds. So anyone else can probably do that as well. I also was in a hurry to get this out because I was feeling so inspired by the snow day that I was like, I want to sit down, write this pattern, read through it, edit it, and publish it. Which all the other things that come with that of like writing what needs to go on my website and on Ravelry and choosing photos and editing photos, choosing a font and making a title, all the like graphic parts of it. So I was like, yeah, I don't have the patience to also record and edit a video tutorial. So yeah, sorry tutorial lovers. My mom also sent me this, which I did not ask her for, but I really wanted one of these. And I was looking at them at Home Goods, and I couldn't choose one, and they were also kind of expensive, like $25 or $30. And I was like, I am not gonna spend that right now. So she read my mind because this is so beautiful. Let me give you a closer look. Isn't that pretty? Here's the only issue. It came with a cord that you could plug into the wall, which did I even keep it or did I throw it away? I don't know. And it also has a battery compartment, but electric outlets are very scarce in this apartment. And I already knew the place where I wanted to put this. If I wanted to plug it into the wall, I would need like a short extension cord just for this one item. And I already have a lot of cords going around the room. And I was like, I don't want to deal with that. So I just put in batteries. But the batteries, I think, really are going to need to be changed every week. And it's like, it's not that like batteries are so expensive. It's just freaking annoying. I don't want to change the batteries every week. I changed the batteries on this just for this video, and if it weren't for recording this video, I might have just been too lazy to do it and then not been getting to enjoy this. But I'm gonna try. I also like have my batteries just disorganized in a box filled with other like tools and hardware and junk. I should get out the batteries I need for this and have them somewhere accessible until this is put away, because that's half the battle, is going into that bin and finding them. So yeah, let me put out some batteries so that I'm ready and just change them every week. But it's worth it. It's so pretty. You can also make this play music, which I would never want, to just have continuous, loud, and low quality Christmas carol music repeating itself endlessly for hours at a time. Another thing that I like about this decoration, and I think a lot of battery powered or light up decorations are like this these days, which I think is great. But an it has a 6-hour timer for the on switch. So you choose when you want it to come on and you hit the on switch, and then you don't have to touch it again. So if I do it at like 8 p.m., it's gonna run for 6 hours and be done at like whatever 2 a.m. and shut off. And then it'll automatically kick back on 24 hours later at 8 p.m. the next day. Love that. Just wish that one set of batteries could last like at least a month. That'd be beautiful. Let me just do one little wellness check on the phone and make sure I haven't run out of memory. Please, God. Thank God. But we're already up to 40 minutes, and I'm like not even going down my list. I'm just rambling. But I'm sorry. Like I said, I'm chatty and I like to yap, and I have a lot of words on my heart today. Something else I'm going to talk about that you don't see in this apartment is that I have a cinnamon broom on the wall, and then I have another cinnamon broom hanging from a hook on the edge of my refrigerator. And it's funny because I had bought a cinnamon broom for my apartment in Tallahassee, Florida several years ago, and I had at least 3 friends be like, oh God, not a cinnamon broom. And I was like, I didn't even know what a cinnamon broom was. I had just like found it at the store, and I was like, I love the look of it and I love the smell of it. So like, yeah, let me get that. It was also cheap. But they had preconceived notions, feelings, and opinions about cinnamon brooms, and they are not cinnamon broom people. And they were like low key making fun of me for having a cinnamon broom. And I was like, y'all are haters. I don't care. I think the main thing they were making fun of me for, though, is that I kept it up for like months when the cinnamon smell was long gone, and also the season. Like cinnamon brooms, I guess, are like very autumnal and supposed to be kind of really like October, November vibes. And yeah, but then funny enough, both Park and Jesse had made fun of me for how long I kept up the cinnamon broom that one time a few years ago. And then I haven't seen a cinnamon broom for sale any of the places I was shopping. And I didn't really think about it much either. But Park had gotten me a cinnamon broom when she came across it at Trader Joe's because she knows I love it. So she brought it to me as a surprise one day. And then a week later, Jessie May came over and also had brought a cinnamon broom for me and was like, I saw this for you and like knew you would love it. And we all thought it was so funny that they both independently of one another bought me cinnamon brooms. I love my friends. I love that they care. Um, I think Park gave me hers just with the caveat of like, okay, I'm giving you this, just make sure it goes away after this month or something like that. And then she was here recently and was like, I see that we're overlapping the holiday vibes with the cinnamon brooms and Christmas. And Jessie had also pointed out when she brought me hers, she was like, you know what? Your apartment aesthetic is kind of giving cinnamon broom to begin with, so this could honestly just be a year-round decoration for you. And I was like, honestly, I agree. And I love a decorative broom. I've never had one other than a cinnamon broom that is like disposable, but there is this shop. I don't know if they still exist. I found them on Etsy years ago of like artisanally made beautiful decorative brooms, and I've wanted one of those for a long time. But they're not cheap. So maybe one day. A girl can dream. I should see if they still operate and exist because I want one. I want a nicer broom that is a year-round broom on my wall. I also don't have a broom for sweeping, which is scary. I just run my Roomba a lot. But the Roomba does a really good job, honestly. Okay, oh my God, I need to get focused. Let me get focused and just talk for 10 minutes and then end the video. Just kidding. Probably gonna be more than that. Just checking that my mic is still on. And now enjoying the sound of sirens. I'm sorry, I'm just enjoying a moment of silence. Like, as a content creator who is making a video that I know I'm not gonna edit, sometimes I feel too much pressure if I like how if I blank or forget what to say. And I honestly didn't just forget what to say. That was an intentional moment of reflection and silence because um, I'm honestly a little bit wired. I can tell just with how much I feel like yapping and how quickly I'm yapping that I'm like, okay, I just did 40 minutes of straight talking nonstop. So I just wanted to take a second to enjoy the silence plus the sirens outside. Um, and if you are a YouTuber, try that sometimes. Sometimes I get, if I'm making a video and I like feel stressed or I put pressure on myself and I blank for a second, I feel so like stupid and stressed out. And I really shouldn't. Not every time that I record am I gonna be a yapping machine like this. So yeah, if you need to take a few seconds for silence, then let yourself and your audience soak up the atmosphere and the vibes. Ugh, I just got the perverse notion to start like whispering because I am wearing a mic, so I feel like I can whisper and you can still pick me up. And I do love an ASMR moment, and probably like 300 people who already were like getting fed up of me in this video just clicked out of the video. Like this was the straw that broke the camel's back. So, okay, I will stop whispering now, I guess. But if you would like an entire video of me doing quiet ASMR like whispery stuff, let me know because I'm not opposed to that. I've been reading. I last time talked about reading The Wizard of Earthsea by Ursula K. Le Guin and how much I loved it. And that is a whole series of 4, maybe 5, 6 books. And I read the second book, The Tombs of Atuan, and I quite enjoyed that one as well. It wasn't as lyrical and flowery feeling as the first one. The first one like felt both like sublimely simple and like archetypal in like the formula of the story itself of just like a boy finds magic and becomes a wizard and we witness his journey from boyhood to manhood. It's like that simple and it's like a story that's been told 1,000 times in different ways. But the prose was just beautiful to me. And the second book, the prose is a little less lyrical and flowery. It's still really nice. And then I would say the narrative is more slightly, it's less like, how to put this? It's less of like that universal story that the first one is of like a boy becoming a man and more of like a targeted, like narratively interesting story of um, like a plot and a new setting and getting a look into a new part of the world. Um, I thought that the second book was going to follow the same protagonist, but the second book has a new protagonist, and we see her. Um, it's a girl. We see her growing up in a position of like religious power. Um, I really liked the setting. I really liked the main character. And then the protagonist from the first book shows up halfway through the second book as an additional character. So, yeah, also short, easy, fun read. And I'm not in a hurry to like read the others, but I probably will continue on in the series. And I assume I'll like those too. I forgot to talk about this on the last video when I was talking about reading, but I had also, in recent months, listened to the Dune books, the first 2 Dune books. So that's Dune, and then, you know what? I can't even remember the title of the second book. Maybe Dune Messiah or something? Is that even one of them? Children of Dune? I don't know. But it's the second book, and I really loved the first one, and I liked the second one all right. It was a little more boring. The first one definitely has more action. And listening to book one made me want to read book one properly. And I'm in no hurry to do that either, but at some point I probably will read a physical copy of Dune. And then as for the future books in the series, I don't know. I read about them online and trying to decide whether I would read them or not, and people say that they are really like philosophical ramblings more than like a narrative, and that's not really my thing. Though I'm sure they are interesting and insightful, and like say, I'm sure they're making an interesting commentary on society and religion and all of those themes that are in Dune. I like a little action. So yeah, I don't know about that. But speaking of Dune, the new Dune prequel, Dune Prophecy, it's a TV show that just started on HBO. I don't know if it's actually airing on HBO like channel or if it's just, oh my God, why did I just get an itchy nose? Sorry. Or if it's just on HBO Max, the app, but that started last weekend. New episodes on Sundays, so there will be 2 episodes I could watch. I haven't watched the first one yet. I might watch it tomorrow. I might watch both episodes tomorrow. but it surrounds, from my understanding, the forming in the early days of the Bene Gesserit, which is my favorite part of Dune, of course. It's like the coven of space nun witches who are like a secret society who like pull the strings of the world and like plant religions around the world. It's really, I love the lore of Bene Gesserit, so I would really enjoy, I think, this show. Um, what else have I been watching? There's a new ongoing season of Great British Baking Show that I am enjoying. I love Bake Off and it makes me want to bake. I watched the new Martha Stewart documentary twice, actually. I watched it once by myself and then I watched it again with friends. And I loved that. Love Martha. Honestly, relatable in many ways. But I'll never girl boss that hard, sadly. And watching a lot of Real Housewives. Who are my Real Housewives watchers? I started Real Housewives of New Jersey from the beginning a few months ago, and I'm on season 5 or 6. I'm on the season that has the twins, Teresa and I forget her twin's name. And then there's also Amber, who's new that season, and her very annoying husband. Um, that's a fun watch, honestly. And then there's a lot of Housewives right now that are currently airing, which whenever that happens, it feels like such a treat to have so many new seasons ongoing at the same time. So I would say for most people, like the number one and what everyone's been talking about the most is Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. And that has certainly been my favorite. That's the series that got me into Real Housewives. And I just find them so hilarious. Like, I'm laughing out loud from the start to the finish almost every episode. Like, it's just ridiculous. But this season is no exception. It's really funny, it's really entertaining. I love it. I love the drama. Um, I am also watching Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, which just started. Only one episode has come out so far. Beverly Hills was my first like big Housewives that I started from season one and like caught all the way up and like rewatched all of it from the start. So love Beverly Hills. This new season feels very promising. I love the direction Dorit is going, like really finding her voice again. Um, it is wild to see Dorit and Kyle fighting. I'm team both of them. And then I was watching. Sorry if you're not into Housewives. This is probably really boring, but if you are into Housewives, please feel free to talk about it. I was watching New Roni, Real Housewives of New York, which they like. This is the second season with an all new cast that they started like a year or two ago. And the original women of Roni were, they just could never be replicated. They were so iconic and so unique. And like, I didn't expect this new cast to replace them. Like, I just viewed them as an all new show, which is the right attitude to have. And I really have been giving them a chance, but I'm always feeling bored watching them. And then they lost me like 2 weeks ago. I think they had an episode that a lot of fans I was seeing on TikTok were like done with the show after that. Pretty much like nothing ever happens. There's never any good real drama. Like none of the women on that show feel like they're really letting us in or being authentic in front of the cameras. It just feels like overly rehearsed and produced and like whatever, groomed and coiffed and exactly how they want to appear. Um, and finally, there was this huge like drama unfolding for once and like a big gossip coming out on the show. And it was actually wild. And then at the end of the episode, we find out that it was two or three of the cast members pranking the other cast members and also pranking the audience. So none of that drama was real. And I was just like, they have nothing going on that they're like willing to share on the show. And it's so bad and the show is so boring that it's gotten to the point where they are like making up storylines as a prank for entertainment. And like, I'm not about that. I need some real drama, okay? So I'm done with Roni unless if I see on TikTok that like it takes a turn that is like actually really good and people are loving it, then which I don't think is gonna happen, I'm kind of over it. There's plenty of other good housewives to watch. So that's Housewives. Um, I watched a movie recently that I really liked called Novitiate. Narratively, it was like whatever, it could have been better, but it's about um, a young woman joining the convent to become a nun in like the, I want to say in the 50s or 60s. And following her journey, there's a little bit of like queer like sexual repression going on and the aesthetics. Like I love the aesthetics of like many religions, but I love the aesthetics of Catholicism. I think they're beautiful. So the subject matter and the aesthetics and the vibes are right up my alley. I love the queer element to it. And then the soundtrack of that movie was masterfully done, actually. Like, I've been listening, I don't think there's like an official soundtrack album, but someone on Spotify had created a playlist that is the exact same soundtrack of the movie. And I've been listening to that playlist so much. It's so beautiful. Props to whoever like compiled the music that fits that movie so beautifully. Um, I don't know if that would appeal to anyone listening, but if you like nun stuff, try Novitiate. And then I really want to see Wicked just because it's culturally like so big. But in waiting for the movie to release and seeing all of the press between Ariana and Cynthia, I have kind of gotten fatigued of the marketing and the branding for Wicked to the point where I'm like, do I even want to see this stupid movie anymore? So I don't know. I may or may not go see it in theaters. I may just wait and watch it at home on a rainy day at some point, but we'll see. Um, I am seeing mostly people are like loving it. I've seen a few crappy reviews, more like crappy headlines. I'm not actually reading reviews. I'll watch a TikTok if it's compelling. But overall, I feel like people are liking it. And yeah, I do want to see it. Um, okay, that's at least an hour of chatter, but I think I'm ready. I did talk about knitting a little bit, but I think I'm ready to talk a little bit more about knitting and yarn. Also, I'm wearing my bulky basic drop sleeve sweater, and I really love this sweater. I love the yarn. It's Lang or Long Long Wool Addicts Mystery. I don't know if they're still making that or not, but I'm sure you can find shops that still have it for sale if you are interested in a really soft, really beautiful, high quality color changing yarn. It's expensive though, and I bought this out of pocket, just at a yarn store. So when I was traveling, I was in Vienna, and I was in, I don't remember which yarn shop it was. I went to a few there. But I probably went to that yarn shop 3 times to buy more and more of this yarn because I like bought what I thought I would need and then I swatched and did some math and I was like, no, I'm gonna need more. And then I think even one more time I was like, I think I just need like 1 or 2 more balls to be safe. And then honestly, I knit this sweater and then decided I wanted longer sleeves and I had used all my yarn. So I ended up ordering 1 ball online from a random yarn shop to finish this off. So yeah, uh, it's rare that I like spend so much money on a sweater, but it is a treat and it feels like it costs a lot of money. It's really soft and warm and just gorgeous, vibrant colors. So I have some new yarn to show. I am always talking with the people over at Knitting Fever because I'm such a huge Noro lover and they are very supportive of my love of Noro and my designing in Noro. They sent me the crayon for this hat and yeah, it's just a very nice relationship I have with them. And they had asked me if I wanted to have this project bag from Like. And also, of course, we're like, and let us know if you want any yarn. And they were like, if you don't choose something, we'll choose something for you, which is like funny. But also, I'm like, okay, if you are hell bent on sending me yarn, let me look and actually tell you what I want. Um, so I got two sweaters quantities. I got a sweaters quantity of Noro Yukata, um, which is, it's more of a fingering weight or like a sport weight. I'm gonna knit it at a DK gauge. Noro tends to work well when you gauge up in that way for me, as long as you don't mind just a little bit of extra drape you get when you do that. But these single ply constructions and a lot of their compositions they use tend to be a little bit sticky. Um, and that does well for an area gauge. It works well. It's able to like hold its shape nicely. So I'm gonna swatch this and hope that I get 5 stitches per inch, but my Beads of Joy is done in 2 colors of this yukata. I ordered this, I ordered 2 colors of yukata when the base was brand new for Beads of Joy. And I'm pretty sure that pattern is 20 stitches per 4 inches, so 5 stitches per inch, and I like that fabric. So yeah, I think I'm gonna get that, and then this will become my next basic drop sleeve sweater. This will become my DK basic drop sleeve sweater at 5 stitches per inch, and then, why do I need to smell this? Yeah, it smells nice and fresh. Also is quite rectangular at the moment. Let me give you a better look so you can see the colors. The composition is 50% silk, 25% wool, 25% polyamide. Not really sure exactly what polyamide is. I don't know if it's different from polyester or not, but whatever. One moment, please, as I have some of my Squirt thirst quencher. Yummy. This is a 200-gram skein, and on a lot of their big like 200-gram skein yarns, they've been doing this ribbon label, which I find very elegant. I love the Japanese with kanji on it. It looks so nice. The only thing, like, this is such a whiny and annoying. It's not even a criticism. It's just a wish. Okay. When I first saw these, and before I ever bought any yarn that uses this label, I assumed that this was a fabric ribbon, and then when I bought it, I realized it's just paper. Like, I don't know. I guess I was a little disappointed. Like, I would love if this were a fabric ribbon. But that's okay. Paper's fine. And it also has a paper label here that looks quite nice. I love, I love everything about Noro. Like, I am truly one of the biggest fangirls. I've talked about it on this channel before, but the actual Noro company that's based in Japan only got on Instagram like 2 or 3 years ago, and they're kind of mysterious as a company. Like, before they got on Instagram, they didn't have like a huge online or social media or like marketing kind of presence. They just, I think, are focused on making beautiful yarn, and it's a very classic model of like yarn store yarn, where it goes through distributors to other countries. Like, we're not buying directly from Noro. It goes, Knitting Fever has contracts and stuff for North America. I don't know if Knitting Fever is outside of North America or not, but certainly for North America, Knitting Fever gets Noro, and then yarn shops buy from Knitting Fever, right? But they only follow like 26 people on Instagram, and at least 3 times a year I check, they follow me, and I check to make sure they still follow me. And if they ever unfollowed me, I would be severely depressed because I just love them so much, and it feels gratifying for them to recognize that and see my dedication and follow me back. So, yeah. But if they unfollowed me, I'd be sad, but I would not stop knitting their yarn. I wouldn't care. I would just understand that it was circumstances beyond my control and my understanding, and I would accept that they did what they had to do for them to in order to maintain their whatever and to keep making beautiful yarn. Like I would accept it as part of God's plan if they ever unfollowed me. That being said, don't ever unfollow me. I will cry. Um, so yeah, there's my Noro. And then Knitting Fever has a lot of brands, and many of them I've used just buying at yarn shops in the past. Um, but I've never asked them to send me anything other than Noro. And I decided to ask for this Laine du Nord, made in Italy. This yarn called Cash Silk Cotton Degradé. Cash Silk. So it is cashmere, silk, and cotton. Is it anything else? 55% merino wool, 22% silk, 13% cotton, and 10% cashmere. Um, really soft, beautiful stuff. I think the one skein is a self-contained gradient and very subtle gradients. Like all of their colorways go from one color to another color, or many of them just go from you know, in one shade, like from a light blue to a medium blue, not even to a dark blue. And this is one of those, you know, it's going from kind of a dark brown to a medium brown, a little bit camely. It feels very soft, very lovely. I have a sweater's quantity of this as well. And this will be the last of my sweaters in the basic sweater, the big book of basic drop sleeve sweaters ebook. So this will be my fingering basic drop sleeve sweater, and then we're done. I'm not doing any more. This will be, assuming I get gauged and move forward with this yarn for this design. This will be 6 stitches per inch. And yeah, I'm not really interested in going finer than 6 per inch. I mean, certainly if you want to knit on zeros with tiny yarn, you could do 7 or 8 stitches per inch. But for me, that's for socks or for machine knitting for sweaters and stuff. I don't want to hand knit that much. It's too much work. But I'm excited for this. I think it's going to be really nice to wear, and the colors are very like elegant and minimal. It's the exact opposite of the vibrance of what I'm wearing today, but I like both vibes, okay? And then I'll talk about this later, but let me move these yarns and show you. This was the main reason that they had reached out to me, is they asked if I wanted a bag. And I thought about it, and normally I don't want random stuff that people are offering to send me. Often I get emails from companies or brands that I don't know at all, offering to send me things that are not related to knitting, and like I just like, no, why would I want that? Especially if it's in exchange for like having to sell my soul and like try to sell that stuff. But I never buy myself like nice knitting notions or bags. Like either friends gift them to me over the years, or I don't know. I just don't make a point of it. And I really like having nice things related to my craft that is now my job. So it's like I should invest more in beautiful notions. So yeah, they asked if I wanted a project bag from Like. It's really big. It's faux leather or vegan leather. I'm not sure what it's actually made out of. I don't know if it's like made out of cellulose fibers or like plastic or what, but it came in this big, beautiful box. And then I already looked at it, but I was like, who doesn't love an unboxing? So I put it back in the box so we could unbox it together. It comes in like 5 or 6 colors. This was the color that was most attractive to me, navy. And honestly, it is proper large. It really just looks like a big bucket bag kind of purse. That's something like for people who are really into project bags specifically, which I never have been, I sometimes wonder like what makes a project bag, you know? Because to me, I'm just like, isn't it just a bag? Um, but this certainly, I mean, it probably does have specific utility for a knitter that I don't know. I mean, it's got, oh, here's a tag with composition. Let's see what this is made out of. Yeah, plastic. 100% synthetic leather polyurethane. So, um, it feels quite nice. It feels like real leather. And sometimes I find faux leather has a like a nasty texture where it looks like wrinkly and thin. But this looks and feels quite nice to me. Okay, I don't feel like I'm gonna easily be able to remove the plastic off these straps on camera without like scissors. I'm gonna take this off. And then, yeah, this would fit like a huge ass sweater project or even multiple, like a sweater plus something else. If you are looking for a big project bag, consider this. This is called Lyra, like Lyra from Like Project Tote. It does have, does this come all the way out? This is such a perverted way to try to show you the utility of the inside of this bag that I just turned this pocket inside out. I'm putting it back in. It's looking like prolapse. It's got like compartments, okay? It's a bag. I don't know how else to tell you anything about it that sounds interesting. Also, I've kind of lost my cute sunlight, which is sad. But these days, the sun is setting so early. So, yeah. The other thing I want to say about this is, like, I mean, feel free if you want to, like, sound off your opinion on the comments. I don't really care. But I am not personally looking to get into a debate about the sustainability of, like, vegan leather. Like, I feel like those words are charged and people get triggered when they hear it. I like I like real leather, but I'm also not against synthetics. Neither, there is no perfect world. There is no ethical consumption under capitalism, okay? Like anything that you're buying that you don't need is wasteful and is harmful, right? And like, oh my God, this could really open a can of worms, but like I get I don't engage in this conversation because it's a lose-lose conversation, and I see it happening around yarn as well. And it's like the only people who I think can really lecture any of us about sustainability are the people who are actually buying sweaters from thrift stores and frogging them to recycle and reclaim yarn. That is like the only truly sustainable and ethical practice in hand knitting. And respect to those people and respect to caring about sustainability and respect to caring about the environment, but also no shame in, for me at least, no shame in like liking beautiful things and liking to buy yarn and liking to have more sweaters than I need to have. Like I'm not looking to take on full and sole responsibility for the sustainability of the climate of the earth, okay? Like I try not to be wasteful. I get a lot of clothes from the thrift store. I also get fast fashion, you know? But I try in general just not to overconsume. I try to I don't just try. I do wear my clothes for years and years, and I wear them into the ground, you know? I fix things, I mend things, I alter things. Um, we could really, I could do one long video on this. Maybe that's something you want. Maybe that's something I would be willing to do at some point, but also probably not because I'm not an expert. And I also think some people just get so fired up about dissecting what choices are more sustainable than others. And that's where I get frustrated because I'm like, none of them are completely ethical, you know? If you have real leather, then you're dealing with one of the biggest polluters ever, which is like industrial farming and also the welfare and care of animals. And then you have faux leather, and you're dealing with industrial creation of plastics using oils and all of the like toxic chemicals that are made as a result of creating plastic. So like I just hate to see people on either side act like they're right and the other is wrong. Like I've seen it over and over again. And I could already feel it coming when I was mentioning that this is vegan leather. You could probably see me getting nervous in the video because I can feel random people coming into my comments and being like, trying to lecture me as if I don't know a ton about fiber and like fabric and textiles and fashion. Like I know, honey, and I think about this stuff a lot, but there's no winning, and like you do you. Just like at the end of the day, try to be mindful. If you have 100 project bags, then don't get this. Please. I'm not advertising this for you. But if this would fill a void in your life and you could use a big, beautiful project bag. I don't have a project bag like this. This is my first bag. This is like twice as big as any other knitting related bag that I have. So I have filled a void and a niche in my life to have this. And it's a shame that plastics are everywhere and are pollutants, but also they're unavoidable. It's already confirmed that they're in our scrotums, the air, and our brains. So uh, we're all gonna die, and the world's on fire. See, this is why I don't talk about this stuff because it gets real grim real quick. But this is now cracking me up because Knitting Fever offered me this. Obviously, with an expectation that I would talk about it and share it. Which, if I opened this up and I thought it were like garbage, then I wouldn't talk about it. Like, this seems like a really nice made, well thought out product. And I already have been a fan of, I've never had a bag, but I've had needles from Leak It that I love. I love my driftwood needles, and I have a full set of copper needles that are now my primary needles. So it's like a brand I know and trust, right? But they also offered me an affiliate code, which is something I have been offered by brands knitting related and not affiliate codes so many times over the years. And it's something I always say no to because I never wanted to become a creator where like every day I have a new code where I'm like trying to like, I don't know. It just feels like if it becomes too much, it becomes like annoying. Um, and doesn't necessarily feel like me and my direction. Because often when I've been offered to set up an affiliate code, either the customer gets an extremely minimal discount or no discount, in which case like the affiliate code is just to benefit me. It's like I would get a 5% kickback or something, which I'm like, it's not worth it to me. I don't think I have that much power on the internet to create commerce of other people's products to the point where I would ever make more than like $1 off of a 5% kickback, you know? Um, so if it's not gonna make me money, like, why sell myself out to be like trying to shill out codes and stuff all the time? But for once in my life, I agreed to do a code for this because they actually were offering a nice discount for people who use it. It's 25% off and free shipping. And this is a $100 bag, and it's quite a large bag, so like it feels right to me. So After all of that spiel, if you want if you want to order one of these, you can use code James and Watts 25 for 25% off and free shipping. And yeah, I get like a $5 kickback, but like I'm not giving you this code because I think it's gonna make me $1 million. Like, if even one person actually was already interested in this bag and just would like free shipping and a discount, then that's great. Then now you have a code to get that. So, yeah, I just don't ever want people to feel like I'm so desperate for coins that I am like begging for like coupons and stuff. No, this was just offered to me by Knitting Fever, and we've started to develop such a nice working relationship, and they've been so supportive of my designs that it made me willing to explore um, just like a different type of branding and marketing and like product thing that is not normally something I do. But anyway, I still feel slightly fired up about talking about synthetics and like pollution and consumption, but I think I'll leave it there. I just like it's something that people get so fired up about, and they feel so self-righteous about it that like it makes me nervous because I never want someone approaching me in a way where they're talking down to me or shaming me for something I've said that they disagree with or trying to like educate me from the moral high ground. That shit's just mad annoying and I don't really want to engage in it. So please, like I said, like if you have strong opinions, like I'm always open to learning, but just like be mindful of how you speak to others. And please don't come at me or anyone in the comments in a way of like bullying or shaming or like um, let's not act like any of us have the moral high ground. Like that's okay. God, I am getting into it a little bit more. I think there's been an attitude that I've seen ever since I've been a crafter. Um, I've definitely for years have put hashtag slow fashion, hashtag sustainable fashion, trying to drum up traffic when I was first getting on Instagram in those ways. But there's been an attitude of like moral superiority for making our own clothes in the knitting and the sewing communities, and I disagree with it. I it's complicated and it's nuanced, and that's why it's something I feel could be discussed for hours. And I also don't want to position myself as an expert. I definitely think I might say something that could be said a little bit more mindfully or tweaked if I had thought about it more or heard someone else's perspective. But I'll just give you my basic opinion on that, which is that making your own clothes doesn't make you inherently better than or more sustainable than people who are buying their clothes. Even if we're talking about people who buy their clothes from Walmart. And I also like in these like slow fashion, sustainable fashion communities, I sometimes see like deep shaming of people who engage in purchasing fast fashion at all. And I think that's the wrong take, okay? Life is tough, and a lot of us do not have the money for like really truly sustainable stuff. Um, it's not about it's not about like how much you spend or how sustainably something is made. I think the most important thing that you can do if this is something you care about, and also if this is something you don't care about at all, I don't care. I do care about it to some extent, but I'm also not out on a mission to convert people into any certain way of thinking. It really doesn't matter. We're all going to die. But I would, in my opinion, whether you are buying things that are made extremely unethically by people, by like fabrics that are polluting the earth and made by garment workers who are mistreated, like that's awful. And I don't support either of those things, but sometimes that's all you can afford. I think the key though is that you're not buying more than you need and that you're using things as much as possible. I think the people who shop at H&M, Zara, Walmart, Target, whatever, who are over consuming, yeah, I don't think that's cool. I don't think it's cool to like buy full outfits for every day of the week from Shein every week of the year, having like orders coming to your house, like that's crazy. Okay. I will put a little bit of shame if that is your lifestyle, but also, again, I don't actually care. Um, no one individual is responsible for the hellscape that our world is. That's the other thing I don't like, for people to act like any one person needs to shoulder the burden when it's like a system that we're all locked into and it's all out of our control. And again, whether you're buying a like $600 jumpsuit that's made from like American grown, like sustainably farmed fibers and like fair trade, well paid garment workers, or you're paying $1 for something made out of plastic, it's still the most ethical thing you can do is to buy secondhand. So, yeah, let's not shame others for doing what they need to do, except I give us all permission to shame people who are buying like 1,000 pieces of Shein clothing a year and then ultimately putting it all in the trash after they've gotten their one like Instagram photo out of it. Like that's a nasty way to live. But also, there's something to be said for people who like that is potentially how they make money, is content creation and having a new outfit every day. Like they are rewarded for that in a real way. Some people, um, and I understand that. I hold space for everyone. Okay, I take it back. We're not allowed to shame those people either, or do it in your head, or with a friend, but don't bother people. Okay, I don't know. I opened the can of worms. Now use my affiliate code to get 25% off and free shipping of this bag. Okay. But I don't know, it feels good to every once in a while talk about real shit and let you know how I actually feel. I also try, um, I try not to like curse that much on my videos because it's like, I don't know. I curse a lot with my friends, but I don't curse a lot with people I don't know well, and I don't know all of you well, you know? So it sometimes feels crass to use too much profanity. And right today, I'm feeling a little wild and a little bit unfiltered, so I've been using more curse words than I would normally. And sorry if you don't like that. My main concern is that I don't know how the robots who are in charge of YouTube operate, but they might scan my video and count the number of curse words I use, and then there's always potential you could get demonetized if you somehow like don't meet their standards. I'm not making much money from YouTube, but ever since I became qualified to have a monetized channel and actually started like being a little bit more regular with YouTube, I probably make between $50 and $100 a month on YouTube. And right now, I'll take it. Any little bit helps after moving to a new city with a much higher cost of living than anywhere I've ever lived before. Guys, this video has gone off the rails. I was not planning for this. And where the hell is my iPad? Oh, I have other yarn to show. Now I feel funny about being like, now look at this yarn and look at this yarn, because it seems like I'm someone who is like constantly just getting new stuff. But this is my job. Like, I make money designing and writing patterns. Like, I have to have a certain output to keep up. Anyway, should I feel weird about this? Do y'all feel weird about this? Are we still good? Like, can we check in with one another? Like, are we still friends? Was this good for you to have me purge a little bit? Um, yeah, I saw the phrase vegan leather and I just lost my mind a little bit. This is from a dyer that I don't know anything about. I literally was just searching for silver yarns on Google and this came up. I think the dyer's name is Threads by Megan Nicole, if I'm remembering that correctly. But I was looking for silver yarn to do my chainmail looking coif balaclava. Okay, and hold up. I am not just running in the rat race and overproducing designs like to make money. This also is an art to me and something I genuinely love and care about. And I wish I were coming out with something every week or two just for the steady income of having a lot more patterns. But I'm about usually these days about one pattern a month, kind of a kind of a person. Sometimes less. I think this year I will end up at 10 designs for the year. So a little less than a month, less than one a month. And I don't know when I'll do this. I've knit this swatch that I'm not really happy with. I love the yarn though. The yarn is 50% merino, 50% silk, if I remember correctly, and it is soft and drapey. It is a really gorgeous feeling, and it does have that kind of metallic silvery sheen I was looking for. But I did one mesh stitch, and I don't know, I just want to try some other mesh stitches. This doesn't feel like what I want to commit to. Something else I had seen some picture of a dress that was just so sparkly but also looked light and sparse, and I found it very inspiring. And I remembered this yarn I had in my stash that I bought back in Zagreb probably 6 months ago. And this also is a yarn from Knitting Fever, but I bought this at a yarn shop over there. It's Lanagato yarn. It's their, I don't know how to say it, palettes. It's their sequins yarn. It's like French for sequins, I think. But I had this, it's like a thread weight yarn that comes on a little cone. And gosh, we've really lost light, huh? That's no good. But I had this idea for a drop sleeve sweater in drop stitch. And this is a yarn, this is like a novelty yarn that is designed, I believe, for you to hold it with something else. Like anything that's like a thread kind of yarn with sequins, that's usually meant to be carried along with another more traditional yarn to add just a little bit of pop or shine. And I am doing the unthinkable and just knitting it by itself for an entire garment. But here's the yarn on the cone. It's like a dark gray, shiny yarn with these iridescent sequins, and it's not the easiest thing to knit, but I'm really excited by it and I'm loving the texture and everything behind it. I came up with this concept yesterday morning and immediately swatched, and then by evening I was grading the pattern and writing it out and starting to knit because I want it and I'm excited about it. Let me make sure. Oh, thank God. I'm still recording. And we're only at an hour and a half. Okay. I felt like things were getting a little bit more out of hand time-wise. Anything else to say about this? Yeah. I don't know if this is going to appeal to people as something to knit, especially out of this yarn, but I think it's going to end up beautiful. It's 100% polyester. Speaking of knitting with plastic and harming the environment. Guys, we can't win, okay? Just enjoy your lives, okay? I don't know what to tell you. You want to knit sequin yarn? Knit the damn sequin yarn. If you'd feel like you're a better person for not knitting the sequin yarn, don't knit the sequin yarn. Because it's 100% synthetic, it has no memory and no drape because it's also so light. So it gives it like a crinkly floating texture rather than something that does like that. it more is just like all over the place, but I think it's in a way that it's gonna have a really stunning effect in a finished garment. And while it isn't like the most pleasant thing to knit, I'm enjoying it just because of how beautiful it is. And what else was I gonna say about it? Oh, it goes quickly because of the drop stitch. It's triple yarn over that you're dropping. It's like a 6-row repeat, so you're only doing the drop stitch on one of those 6 rows, but it's going pretty quickly for something that I just started last night. And as if as if there weren't already enough reasons that people are like not gonna want to knit this, I am knitting it flat and seaming it. So deal with it. I I'm at this point now where I'm like laughing after my rant because I hope Knitting Fever does not watch this video. And like brands really shouldn't ask me to sell stuff because I'm not that committed to the bit. And like, okay, let like just so that you, my audience, can have a continued faith in me, it just goes to show I like value um, openness and honesty and being genuine and being real more than anything else, really. Like, the kickback of getting $5 per sale for people who use that code is the most I've ever been offered with a code like that. Um, Again, I wouldn't have agreed to do it if it wasn't giving a nice discount and a nice like perk to people actually using the code. But if I really wanted to, if I really had high hopes and if I really had aspirations that this affiliate code was going to somehow make me $1,000 or something, I would not be freaking talking about like the ethics of the fabric. You know, I would just be like trying to say only good things about it, and that's just not, it's not how I operate. It's not ever how I'm operating. If you ever hear me, if I ever do more collaborations like that in the future where I have an affiliate code and I'm only ever saying, if I'm saying really good things, it must be because I genuinely only have good things to say, you know? And also, I haven't used this bag properly. I've just unboxed it. So maybe I use it for 1 month and there are holes in it, then I'm gonna tell you, okay? I'm gonna say, hey, um, sorry if you bought this bag, but it sucks. But if I thought that that were a possibility, I wouldn't have agreed to it. Like I said, I do think it seems like a nice bag. But yeah, if you're a brand watching this, probably don't ask me to um, advertise your stuff because I don't do a good job of it. I just got to keep it real. Here's another one. Like I said, ever since I ever got a following, even before I started designing, but I had Instagram followers, I've gotten little emails and DMs from random brands asking if I would want to work with them, and if they're not knitting related, I usually don't even reply. But the answer is pretty much always no. I don't want to be beholden to others. I don't want to work for others. I don't want to advertise shit. I just want to do my thing and be myself. But I did have a brand. They're in my requests. And I didn't respond to them because sometimes I just feel shy and nervous and I don't want to reject people. Just if I don't respond, take the hint. I don't know. Uh, but they're a company I'm not familiar with, and they are in the knitting world, and they do a mystery, like a monthly subscription box, like a mystery box type of thing. And they were asking if they could send me the box and if I could advertise it on my YouTube channel or my Instagram. I forget if they asked for specifics. I think they might have also asked my rate, which like I don't really know what to say. Here's the other thing. There is a price for everything. I will compromise my authenticity if the money is right. Like, just being 100% real, I would agree to advertise something crappy if I were getting thousands of dollars to do so. But I probably also would do it in a way where you could tell I was being facetious and inauthentic. Like, it would be like a wink wink kind of advertisement, and probably they wouldn't like it, but it would fulfill my contract and I would get my coins, right? But I didn't ever respond to them, and I just like, I don't even know. I don't know their products. I don't know the quality of their products. I don't know what I would ask for money wise, like with the amount of views I get. Like, I don't know what a brand is willing to pay for me to mention their product for like a 1 minute slot on a video. Um, and yeah, I don't know. Maybe I should answer them and say I'll do it for $1,000 because I would do it for $1,000. Um, and they would most likely say, "Oh, sorry, that's out of our budget. Never mind," and that would be the end of it, right? But maybe they would say, "Oh, that's sure. Here, have $1,000," and then whatever, fine. I'll advertise your mystery box. But the thing is right off the bat, that's a product that I know myself, I would never buy that. Like, that is no shame. Again, I don't really care what people like. And like, no shame if you love a subscription or a mystery box. But for me and the way I craft and my values, that is the type of consumerism that doesn't feel right for me. Because I'm like, spending money on something I don't even know what I'm going to get, and I might not like it. I might not ever use it. It might just go into the charity bin or the trash, or I give it away, or it just sits and collects dust and moths eat it. Um, I really highly value my crafting time, and I also have a lot of interests in craft. I could probably come up with a list of 100 yarns that I've never tried that I do want to try, and I could probably come up with a list of 100 patterns that I haven't knit that I do want to knit, and 100 designs that I haven't designed and I do want to design. So I'm not the type to leave things up to chance in that way and potentially like waste my money and potentially also get an inferior product since I don't know what I'd be getting. It could be crap. Um, so right off the bat, I was like, this is not something I would ever purchase. So it's not something I would want to advertise on my channel. Whereas a bag, I would get a bag. A leak a bag, of course I would get that. But yeah, did I have anything else to say about that? I just want to reiterate that there are some knitters who just love knitting, have a ton of time for knitting. They'll knit anything, like, who truly don't care. Like, they are happy to have any yarn and any pattern, and who also love a surprise. Some people totally love a mystery box, and I get that. Like, a surprise is exciting, and that there is a general basic like human nature to enjoying something like that. So if that is something that you like, I'm not trying to make you feel bad, and I'm not trying to shame you for it. It's just something I've never bought and never would buy. So when a company is asking me to advertise it to my followers, I'm like, ooh, I don't know if there's any way that I can advertise that feels authentic to me. But again, let me just remind you that I'm not a cheap sellout, but I would sell out for enough money. So if anyone wants to pay me a lot to advertise something, I'm your girl. Oh my God, I'm getting hot. Is there anything else I wanted to talk about? This 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 podcast got real. I really, I don't know. I hope you like it. I had my first concert with the Peoria Symphony Orchestra here in Illinois, which is, as of now, they're the only orchestra that I am a member of. I would like to find one or two other orchestras to maybe play with professionally. And it was stressful a little bit at first. It was a very small orchestra. This is a concert of all Baroque music in a beautiful cathedral. And like I said, those cathedral vibes and aesthetics are right up my alley. So I loved that. but there were only three violins in my section, and I was in the back. So the cathedral acoustics can be quite challenging to play in, and also anytime you're in the back of a section acoustically, it presents a challenge to the player, just with the time delay of when the sound is hitting you. And yeah, it was like quick. It was like we had the first day were two rehearsals. It's called a double service. We had a rehearsal in the afternoon and a rehearsal in the evening. The next day we had a rehearsal in the afternoon and a concert in the evening. And then the next day, one more concert. So it was 5 services altogether. The first rehearsal, I felt a little bit tense, and I felt like the conductor was like paying a little bit more attention to me and my playing than I would like. In an ideal world, as a violinist, the conductor pays zero attention to me and just has no feedback, and I'm perfect. But he was giving my section a lot of feedback in particular, and I was like, oh God. But by the second rehearsal, I really felt like I found my footing. This is also my first orchestra gig in 2 years. You know, I didn't play when I was in Croatia, and I was playing a lot before that. So I just had to like find my footing again, and I think I did quickly. And then I ended up enjoying myself so much. I love Baroque music. We were playing standing up, which was it's very like historically informed performance style, kind of performance practice to play Baroque music and a small orchestra in a church all standing up. You see that. But that's my first time doing that type of gig. And it's brutal to be standing on those marble floors for 5 hours a day and playing violin. My back was killing me. But I loved the music. I thought the orchestra played beautifully. We had three soloists who all played gorgeously. Um, I even enjoyed being in a tux again, which is something I've always hated. I felt elegant playing violin, standing up in a tux, playing this ancient music in a beautiful cathedral with almost sold out audiences. The pews were jam packed. I had one person in my comment section for my last video. I had offered comp tickets to anyone if anyone is in or near Peoria and wanted comp tickets to please let me know. And I had someone comment and I replied and I gave her my email and said, please email me so we can arrange this. I never heard from her. So if that was you, maybe you just didn't get a notification that I had replied, you know. But I will play another concert in Peoria in December, their Christmas concert. So if you're in that area, I can't tell you off the top of my head what day it is, but you can Google Peoria Symphony schedule. If you're in that area, I think I always have comp tickets I can offer, probably at least two. So definitely, I think it's just two. But I always have access to that, and I don't have anyone to give them to. So please, if you would like to come see me play a concert, don't be shy. Just like um, either DM me on Instagram or email me, probably the best. Um, yeah, but that was a good experience. I was talking my last video about how I felt the depression coming on, and then honestly, I've been feeling really good these days, and it's like the depression should have come. I was feeling like it would. I had a couple of days, but really it went away fast, and I was thinking about it, and I honestly credit my new uh, practice, my new art of making silver jewelry to warding off the evils of depression because it's just given me one more thing to be really excited about every day and to look forward to. And like, I have a genuine joy and excitement to sit down at my jewelry bench and try new ideas, learn new skills, hone a new craft, and see improvements and new knowledge coming to me every day is incredibly gratifying and is making me happy. So take that, depression, and I'm making a lot of jewelry. I'll show you what I'm wearing. Got all of these rings that I made. This was like a total experiment that I just, like, things kept going wrong and I kept changing my idea, my strategy to suit the new situation, and then ended up with something I actually love. I think it's really cool. And then I've been starting to make pieces that I'm like stockpiling. I've made a bunch of these rings in this style that I love. It's like a really thick, shiny silver band with this like distressed, these like dots and lines that are filled with patina. I don't know. Hope you're getting it. And then I've already given away a lot of pieces too to friends, but I've been making these rings that kind of look like nipples. They've got tiny rubies flush set into the surface of the metal. Here was an experiment that I will probably take apart and salvage the stones because I'm not totally happy with it, but it is beautiful. And I learned a lot making it. It's just too thin on the back plate, and I don't love the shape of the shank, where the ring band attaches to the gemstone setting, but it's an opal and moonstone, 3-stone setting. It's the only ring I've done like that, and probably the most complex gemstone setting I've done to do a 3-stone setting like that. But am I still recording? Did I run out of space? Yes, I'm still recording. Also, if you are a jewelry lover, I'm nervous and I'm feeling shy. I'm not showing too much jewelry on Instagram yet, but as the days go by, as I get more confident, I am going to start showing stuff. And I will probably make a new Instagram page for jewelry, I'm thinking. So when that comes out, please consider following. And I'm hoping before long, maybe January or February, to launch jewelry for sale online once I have a small collection and I'm feeling happy with the styles I'm offering. But definitely those distressed bands, I really love that style. And my nipple rings, I plan on selling both of those. Yeah. Um, I am still weaving on my ankle loom very slowly at this point, but I started a new project and a new skill for me, which is card weaving. So I've got these cards that each have 4 holes in them, and this is an ancient weaving practice, which I love that. I love to do something that I know people have been doing for thousands of years, and even weaving patterns that are thousands of years old. I don't know how old this pattern is, but it is very traditional, and you just follow a pattern that tells you which cards turn forward and which cards turn backwards between every pick of the yarn in between the belt. But here on the back, you can maybe see better all the length of this I've done. It's like 32 picks, so 32 times of sending the yarn back and forth for each pattern repeat. And so often I will sit down in front of the TV and just do 1 or 2 picks at a time each day. I was feeling a little bit like, not discouraged, maybe a little bit discouraged, but also just a little bit like over knitting. Not that excited by knitting. And then this hat made me get excited. And I don't know, something just clicked in me, and I'm like for a couple of weeks when I first got set up to do jewelry, I only wanted to make jewelry and I did not want to knit at all, really. But thankfully, because I need to be knitting, the past 2 days I've like been having a lot of ideas and I'm feeling good, and I'm like, I want to be knitting and making jewelry all the time, all day, and I want to do both, which is good. I also, just as I have been for months, there's a million other things I'd like to be doing as well if I had more time. But I am playing violin, not every day, but for my Peoria concerts. And I might start playing piano for a church soon, for a Catholic church near here that needs a pianist occasionally. I am in my local Chicago chapter of the American Recorder Society. So we meet once a month and I play recorder. Last month I also played, or this month, for our November meeting, I played crumhorn, which is a wild instrument. I can't even explain it. It's a capped reed instrument that is like Renaissance and earlier repertoire. It's very buzzy and noisy sounding. Um, we have our concert. We have two concerts a year for the Recorder Club, and we'll have a Yuletide concert in December, which I'm excited about. If you're in the Chicago area and you want to see a recorder concert, just look it up. The Chicago chapter of the American Recorder Society has a website and a newsletter. Um, or if you play recorder and you want to join, anyone's welcome. Uh, yeah, this video ended up being 2 hours. It was chatty as hell. We went all over the place. We got into some deep topics about sustainability, and I also really let you into the workings of my mind when it comes to accepting brand collaborations, which is the kind of thing that I often feel like nobody wants to hear about that, and it's like annoying. It's like influencer talk, or it's just like shameless. But I don't know. I think it's nice to talk about those things openly every once in a while. I It's 2:30. I think I'll go to the gym. Probably I'll go to the gym soon and it'll be dark by the time I leave. So when I get home, I'd like to here's what I'm thinking with this sequin yarn. I was I actually I was grading this pattern on my laptop in bed, and for the past like few years, I like never do anything in my bed. I did a little bit for the months I was living with my friend in Croatia, just because I had roommates then. So a little bit, I felt more like insular in my bedroom. But even then, I wouldn't normally work in bed. But like, I don't know, there used to be a few years when I was like a young adult still living with my parents. I like my bed was like my office, which I don't like to live like that all the time every day, but occasionally I miss it. And last night I was missing it. I sometimes feel a little bit like just like cold or like lonely to be working either at my desk where I have a desktop computer kind of in my dining room area, or even on my laptop in the living room with like the big TV on if I'm watching something all by myself at night. Feels a little bit cold, a little bit lonely. And I was like, you know what? I'm bringing all of my electronics to bed and my notebooks and my knitting, and I like swatched and graded the start of this sequin pattern, and then I started knitting it, and I felt very cozy, and I also felt very productive in my little bed office. That's one thing that I've always loved, and I always will love, especially in a bed. I love to have like a laptop, iPad, cell phone, like it's like I know it sounds awful to a lot of people probably who are trying to get away from screens, but I really embrace doom scrolling on as many objects at once simultaneously as possible sometimes, and I don't feel bad about it at all. I literally just sit there enjoying myself like an iPad baby. So that was the vibe last night, but I actually was like, I haven't felt this productive in months, just because I felt good and cozy, and I was like, let me do my little work in my bed. So that was nice. But all of that to say is that this was difficult to knit in the low light of evening in my bedroom with just my night lamp, my table lamp. So I think I'm gonna try to have this be my morning work every day until it's done when I have a lot of light. And then, I mean, I have a nice floor lamp here that if I'm sitting right under, it's enough light to knit at night. But I'd like to go ahead and swatch. I'd like to swatch my new my Noro Yukata for my DK basic drop sleeve sweater to, I want something real potato chippy. Like this is simple. The drop stitch is simple, but because of the yarn characteristics, I have to kind of look at it. Like when yarn has no memory like that, it can just like come off the needles almost. You know what I mean? Especially dealing with those big loops of the drop stitches. So that requires attention, and I want something that I don't have to look at because I'm also really feeling my anime arc might be coming back. I mean, I was talking a little bit about it on Instagram stories. I gathered some recommendations. I didn't watch too much since then, um, but I really want to be watching anime. but I prefer to watch with an original Japanese audio with subtitles. So I need to be able to look at the subtitles. So a nice stockinette pattern would be beautiful. So I think Jim, and then let me swatch this and start the grading. These drop sleeve sweaters are simple to grade and write, and I've have a lot of experience. It's just a new gauge. So that'll come up quickly, at least enough for me to get started, and then I'll probably cast on this tonight. It's good to have multiple projects and things to feel excited about. And I hope that you do as well. And as always, to the people who make it this far and actually like sitting here, and I always get the comment from at least one person, most videos, that watching my videos feels like sitting down and catching up with an old friend, and that is so nice. Literally, I just got choked up a little bit because it's sweet. It's genuinely sweet, and I'm so glad that that's the vibe you get. And I don't have a huge channel. I don't have millions of views on my videos. I would love that because then I could get rich off YouTube. But I really love and appreciate my small but mighty and loyal audience. And thanks as always for those of you who tune in and let me know what you're working on and how it's going in the comments. I love to read YouTube comments, and buy a Polar Star hat, okay? You've supported me by watching this video, and now it's time to support me by buying and knitting this pattern. Okay, thank you. Bye.